question, I have several questions with regard to the same topic. So I was wondering if I could ask you some online, and if we don't get through them, if you can give me a minute or two later on.
Sure.
My question is this. My husband and I have two children. We have a son and a daughter. You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
We have two children, a son and a daughter. Our daughter is healthy, our son is not. So my question is, how does my son inherit from us, and how do we prepare our wills? Our son has a psychiatric diagnosis and he cannot manage money.
Okay. Type. Second question.
So I can tell you his diagnosis. He has schizophrenia.
Sure.
So if I have to leave money for him, his full share, for example, in our will, then he won't be able to manage that money, and he's at risk. For example, anyone can go and say, you know what, I need this money. Can you lend it to me? And he will hand it over. So how do I protect him in my will?
Okay. Second question, or you want me to answer this one?
Does he inherit 100% like his full share?
طيب. First of all, may the Almighty Allah give him shifa. I asked the Almighty Allah, the Lord of the great throne, to cure him, and He is able to do all things. Secondly, may Allah grant you patience and strength to handle his condition. Thirdly, yes, he inherits, and he inherits a full share. What does Islam say about this condition? What does Islam say about when somebody die and leave behind minors? Then there will be a guardian, waliyul yatim. And Allah said, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمْ. Do not just give them the money until you verify that they are capable to manage it wisely. And وابتلوا اليتامى حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم. Even when a guardian, whenever it is the uncle, paternal or maternal, or the grandpa, and now he is looking after the wealth of the orphan, or your child after a long life, may Allah the Almighty grant you a long life. He's not supposed to hand the money over to him or to her until they reach the age of maturity and test them whether they're capable to dispense their money. Anyone can fool them, or they're wise enough. So it applies here as well. If there is an uncle, if there is an uncle and if there is a grandparent, will be more worthy to be the guardian of the child. So he keeps his money and he tries to invest it for him, and then he gives him and dispenses to him whatever is needed for his treatment, for his daily use, for his rent and utilities, for his education, and so on. If miracle happens and he is fully recovered and he is capable to handle the money, Bismillah, here is your money. Otherwise, the guardian will keep supporting him from this money, which he inherits a full share, not because he's having the psychiatric condition that we deprive him from a part of his share. I hope the answer is helpful to you, Sister Maryam. You said that you have to give it to a third party, right?
A trust. You have to set up a trust. They tell us that I have to set up a trust for him.
Yeah, I know.
Which means that someone manages the trust, so the guardian manages the trust. And if it's a Canadian law thing, then the guardian can actually charge the trust to give him, like if he wants $100 to go and buy some food, then the guardian will charge the trust $100 to give him $100.
Correct, which is very much the same. You know, it just has to be deposited in a trust, and there will be a guardian who is in charge of withdrawing this money from the trust and supporting your child out of it. So it is okay. But the question is, whom do you choose to be the guardian over the trust of your child?
Okay, so can the guardian be his sister?
Well, if you trust her, why not? No problem. If she's grown up, and if she's wise herself and you trust her, yes. When I say you trust her, I don't mean a bad thing, but sometimes As a father, I know that, you know what, I think his maternal uncle or aunt will be more merciful, more wise. Trust is not necessarily because of lack of amana, but the person may be perfectly healthy but doesn't know how to invest or spend or dispense his own money. So this is what I meant by saying trust. Whomever you trust and you think that the person, this will be for the best of your child, you can choose him or her to be the guardian.
If my daughter manages the trust, she's already inheriting herself. So can she still charge the trust to do this job? Because this job is a very difficult job.
Okay, wait a minute. You mean that whoever will be the guardian would actually get paid? This is what you mean by saying charge the trust?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, the trust will have a guardian or a trustee who will dish out the money to my son. So, for example, he needs money for groceries, so he will ask the trust, I need money for groceries. So somebody will sign that check and give him the money, and that person is doing a job, so he gets paid.
No, in Islam, I'm glad that you continued with this question, because this is what Allah says in the Quran. The Quran says, من كان غنيا فليستعفف ومن كان فقيرا فليأكل بالمعروف. This is very important in Surah An-Nisa. If the guardian who's looking after the wealth of an orphan or orphans is well of himself, like you said, that she has collected her own share of the inheritance, she's not allowed to charge anything for looking after the trust of your child. Neither she or any person who's well off, only if the person himself is in need. So in order to keep him in my house, I have to charge. I have to feed him and feed myself. فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So he should charge on reasonable basis, what is sufficient for him barely, not to make it luxurious. But if your daughter or if the uncle or whoever will be chosen to be the guardian is well off, then he is not allowed to charge the trust as a payment for the job that he or she is doing. This is fi sabilillah. Got it?
All right, so that you've answered my question. And maybe one last thing.
Okay, we'll take your last question.
Can I help my son write a will of his own?
But you said that he's not in his right mindset, correct?
I said he has schizophrenia.
Okay, so most of the time he's a reasonable person, but sometimes he gets the attack of the schizophrenia or schizophrenia. Am I correct? Did I understand you correctly?
Say that again, sorry.
Yani the schizophrenia is not something that the person experiences 24/7, correct?
He's been like that for 10 years.
Okay. Well, if the person is diagnosed with a condition where he or she could not actually manage their own business and their own wealth, in this condition, they cannot be in charge of dispensing anything. Because if he can write a will, then he can spend the money and he can grant it to whomever. But if he's not capable, then likewise that he cannot write his will. Okay?
Okay.
Barakallahu feekum, Sister
All right.
Maryam. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for calling in.